a few times. There was a rabbi in the Gemara who always started with a joke, and I don't have a joke.
Good joke.
But I have a song that's similar to a joke. And this song is me talking to my evil impulse and turning it over to good. Hak menes kinchine, freight mirin pipik too. That's why I'm out of singing. My freight mirin pipik blue. Kanana horror loading. Baby's got a new pair of shoes. That's why I'm out of singing. My freight mirin pipik blue. Now you and me, baby. We both got nothing to lose. So why don't come and join me? Singing my freight mirin pipik blue. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man. You can sing it in Yiddish too. Why don't you come and join me? Singing my freight mirin pipik blue. Now come on, children. We're gonna have some fun. You ain't seen nothing like the Holy One. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Can I get Moshiach now? Or must I hesitate? Welcome everyone to Gezintahait. First, before we have the recipe, we're gonna have a story. And the story is entitled, Reb Hendel Did Not Understand. And it's a Shabuah story that the previous Rebbe related. And the previous Rebbe said that the Rebbes of Lubavitch were accustomed on the first day of Shavuos. By the way, Shavuos is the holiday that's coming up. And before we start the story, let's count the Omer. And before we count the Omer, let's make sure that everybody's watching knows that there's two things that they have to say before the day starts. And if they didn't say it already, here are the two things. First, thank you, Hashem, for giving me my neshama, living an eternal king. You're faithful to return it. And if you want to know the exact wording, look in the city. And the other thing, bless you, Hashem, King of the universe, who gave us the commandment to learn the Torah. Now we're going to count the Omer. Today, say this after me, everybody. Everybody's watching. Today is the 48 days.
Is 48 days.
Which is 6 weeks.
Which is 6 weeks.
And 6 days.
And 6 days.
Of the Omer.
Of the Omer.
And every day we say that is a particular commandment that connects us to Hashem for that day. And we're getting to the end of the Omer soon. We're going to be in the 50th day that we don't count, which is the day when we get the Torah. Now I'm going to continue the story. The previous Rebbe says that the Lubavitcher Rebbe's were accustomed to tell a Baal Shem Tov story and a Torah from the Baal Shem Tov on the first day of Shavuos, because the first day of Shavuos is the yard-side, is the commemoration of the passing away of the Baal Shem Tov. The Tzemach Tzedek, 1 year, and by the way, everybody loves a story and loves to tell a story, but not everybody is into a teaching. But since the Rebbes did it, our Rebbe said, and since the previous Rebbe revealed that the Rebbes did it, then it should be a custom that we all do is to tell Baal Shem Tov's story and the Torah from the Baal Shem Tov on the first day of Shavuos, which is coming up this coming Sunday. One Shavuos, the Tzemach Tzedek taught that the Baal Shem Tov, and this ends up to be a Shem Tov story, which includes a teaching from the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov used to travel around from village to village and town to town, and he used to bring the simple people close to Hashem by warming them up to Torah and mitzvahs. In telling this story, the previous Rebbe mentioned that there was one chassid who was named Reb Pendel, who was a big chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek, did not understand the teaching in the story. And this is the story. Once the Baal Shem Tov gathered the simple people of a village, and he said, Tehillim number 65 says, happy are those who are chosen and brought close. Those who are chosen and brought close is us, is all the Jewish people. The first word of that psalm is happy, is the word Ashrei. And Ashrei is an acrostic for Amen Yehesh Mei Rabba Mavora. No, Amen Yehesh Mei Rabba, which means may his great name be magnified. So the ones that are happy in being brought close are happy in the fact that they're able to magnify the great name of Hashem. Afterwards, the psalm mentions many levels. It says your courtyard, your house, your inner chambers. But in magnifying Hashem's great name, there are no levels. Everyone is equal. From the most advanced scholar to a simple child. They're all equal by saying, Amen, Yehesh Mei Rabba, your name should be magnified. And with that teaching, the Baal Shem Tov opened up a channel for those simple people to express their love and enthusiasm for Hashem through saying, Amen, Yehesh Mei Rabba, Amen, your great name should be magnified. Our Rebbe clarifies this teaching. He says, everyone is equal when saying, Amen, Yehesh Mei Rabba, your name should be magnified. But the way that name flows from one world to the other, Li'olam Olam Maya, is not equal. Everybody has a different level. In perspective of worlds, there is more of a revelation of the great name in the higher worlds than there is in the lower worlds. Perspective of individuals, the Jew's level will determine the extent that he receives and is affected by the magnification of Hashem's name. And the Rebbe asks a question. How is it possible for a Jew to magnify Yehesh Mei Rabba, the great name of Hashem? True, a Jew can cause the revelation of godliness in the worlds. How? Through his service. But to bring about a magnification of the great name, it would seem to be beyond the capability of any created entity. How can any created entity magnify Hashem's great name? The magnification of Hashem's great name Okay, this is how they can do it. Through the self-nullification. When a person has self-nullification, when a Jew does, he reveals the essential connection between himself and Hashem. The connection to the essence of Hashem is equal in every Jew, no matter what his capabilities and his accomplishments. Furthermore, the nullification of the essence of the soul is more apparent in a simple person than it is in a great scholar. That's why a Rebbe says the previous Rebbe pointed out something apparently negative about such a stellar chassid as Reb Hendel. The previous Rebbe said Reb Hendel didn't understand. In terms of comprehending Torah, each one has his level, all the way down to those who don't understand anything of the Torah. Then the Rebbe adds, as an aside, regarding those who don't understand anything, no one is stopping them from asking Hashem to give them a gift that they could understand. The point is, even those people, these ones who don't understand anything, connect to the Torah through the essence of their soul. The level of the king receives enjoyment from his own essence, a level which is much higher than any intellectual achievement could accomplish. The Baal Shem Tov's teaching opened the path for even the simple men, women, and children to express a special love and enthusiasm by answering the Kaddish, Omein Yehei Shmei Rabba Mavarach, the name should be magnified. Even those who didn't understand the Baal Shem Tov's teaching were able to affect the essence of their soul, a level which is much higher than intellect. The essence of a soul is much higher than intellect, and they were able to affect that by their magnification of the great name. And this is the connection of this story to Shavuot. So far, the story, we don't see how it's connected to Shavuot. When Hashem gave the Torah, each person received it on a different level. There was the carriers of the waters, and the choppers of the wood, and the great Torah scholars, each one on his own level, depending on how they prepared to receive it. But at the level of the essence of the soul, all Jews received the Torah equally. Like we're happy in magnifying the great name. The lesson for us in our service to Hashem is that some people might think that because they prepared more, the Torah that they received is a more high quality Torah than the one who didn't prepare. But what we have to learn from it is that the levels of receiving and preparation are only on the revealed level. But on the essential level, the soul level, everybody receives the Torah equally. Therefore, when it comes to receiving the Torah, the person who prepared more should help the person who didn't prepare to be able to receive the Torah in a different way, in a better way. Now, for the Jew who really understands that he doesn't understand nothing, he has no spiritual level. And he says, but me, what connection could I possibly have to the Torah? We tell him the Torah is given to everyone equally. Receiving the Torah connects your essence to the essence of Hashem, and that's important. When we receive the Torah on Shavuos, we are connecting to the essence of Hashem no matter what our level is. Like Hashem says, Anochi, I am the Lord your God who took you out of the constraints of slavery from Egypt. And Anochi is acrostic for I write my soul into it, Hashem says. Hashem himself is in the Torah. So that Torah we get connects to our essence, and our essence connects to Hashem. Even one who is still on a level of slavery. What do you mean? Slavery in Egypt? He's enslaved by the physicality of the world. He can break free. Through the power of Anochi, I am the one, Hashem says, who takes you out of Egypt. Now we're going to have the recipe for tonight. The recipe for tonight is how to deal with household burns. And the way to deal with household burns is to have around a thing called lavender oil. If somebody gets burned, put a few drops of lavender oil and it will take care of it. And also how to take care of household cuts and abrasions. With tea tree oil, somebody gets cut or scraped, put a few drops of tea tree oil on there. Or else a thing called calendula ointment. It also heals up the cut very fast. Or else to have a plant around called an aloe vera plant, and you pull off a leaf and take the moisture stuff that's inside and smear it on the cut, and it will form a natural Band-Aid, and it will also heal the cut. So that's the recipe of tonight, how to take care of burns and cuts. And now we're going to have a musical interlude. I think Mendel has a song which is going to incorporate the poem of the famous Jewish poet, the great Jewish poet, Ayin Heiss, of the Pashas Bamidbar.
Okay.
Perfect. Ready? Bum, bum, do, 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 bum, 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 do, 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 bum, 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 do, 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 bum, bum, bum. Come away with me, bum, 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 to the desert. Hey, to the desert, where we can be, bum, bum, bum. Come away with me. And bring your children, and bring your wives, and worship me without reserve, and dedicate your lives, and come away with me, and to the desert, come away with me. The bleaks and crystal peaks from the city spell, the heart of the spirit truly speaks, and the soul that you can dwell. Come away with me, go into the desert, come away with me, where we could be free. The blind that is He's now sighted, the slave becomes free man. The ancient road
Nice one. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Groovy, groovy. We were saying in one of the latest shows that the foundation of education of a Jewish child is to let him know that there's an actual living God in the world who's concerned with his actions and that his actions affect. One of the ways that we accomplish this education, we give a child an example. We tell him, when you want to pick up a thing, it takes a certain amount of force and it won't move by itself. So imagine the amount of force it takes to move a big object like the moon. And even more than that, bigger objects like the sun and the stars. And even more than that, the whole universe, how it spins around. Imagine how strong and capable the one who is doing that spinning has to be. I was saying this tonight for some friends of mine. I was practicing it. So one of them said, it's no big deal. It doesn't mean it's Hashem. It's gravity. So I explained to him, I told him, right, when I lift up this thing, it's the muscles in my hand and the arm are doing the moving. That's like gravity. But it's my desire to move that thing that's making it happen. So too in the spinning of the worlds and the creation, it's the desire of Hashem for it to happen exactly as it's happening. And that causes the musculature to work. Not only that, how does that muscles get the oxygen and the sugar to be able to strong enough? And how does the whole system work and how does it come into being is by the one who's spinning it. But that's a simple explanation for a child. Now we were saying that in the book, The Essence of Hasidus, which is the anchor book that we're learning, it says that Hasidus brought four new dynamics into the world. The first one, the Baal Shem Tov came up to wake up a comatose world. You want to ask? Just ask. The Baal Shem Tov came to wake up a comatose world. Hasidus came that a chassid will do more than the letter of the law. And Hasidus allows us the possibility to change the nature of our attributes so that we can serve Hashem with illumination and vitality, with lichtigkeit and lebendigkeit. Means it changes the nature of the midos, that we're using our emotional attributes to serve Hashem in a way that we were enthusiastic about it. And the fourth one, we can use Chabad, we can use our intelligence to understand godliness. Up till now, in the last few shows, we've been exploring the 10 spheros, and the four worlds, which are necessary axioms in the service of Chabad Hasidus. Tonight, we're going to take a look at how the service of Chabad is applied practically. How to accomplish serving Hashem in a lichtich and an enthusiastic way through Chabad Hasidus. It says, we say Aleinu a few times every day in the davening, and it says in Aleinu, you should know this day and put it on your heart that Havaya is Elohim. In the heaven above, on an earth below, there is no other. And this commandment, this instruction that we're giving has two things in it. One is to know, it means to know intellectually, and the other one is a place on your heart to feel it emotionally, that Hashem is Elohim. How does it work? How we have to know? How do we grasp intellectually that Havaya is Elohim? When one goes through a detailed understanding of a godly topic and understands it thoroughly, until it's not just understood intellectually, but it is absorbed in the person's brain and becomes completely unified with him. When that's how you will know that Hashem is Elohim. For example, it says, I am Hashem, I don't change. The act of creation in the spiritual and physical levels, from the highest level to the lowest level, the whole vast panoply of the creation does not cause one iota of change in Hashem. You might think that since Hashem is juggling all the stars and the planets, that it's like a guy spinning plates, that he's moving and he's involved in it to the point where he's changing. No, it says, you are the same before the creation, and you are the same after creation. Hashem doesn't change. How can that be? We can understand it very well when we understand that the whole vast creation is only a reflection. It's a ray of a reflected ray from the reflection called Hashem's name, which takes no place in his essence at all. Just like the sun can light up 1,000,000 houses all at once, and the sun doesn't change. Because that ray from the sun, how it is in the sun, takes up no place. It's in the flame of the sun. And that ray comes out, it could light up 1,000,000 houses, but there's no change in the essence of the sun. So too, when Hashem is bringing into being and enlivening the vast creation, he himself doesn't change. Like it says, with a yud is a letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and a hey is a letter. You are the rock of the world, and the rabbis tell us in explaining this piskam that the world to come is made just from one letter from a yud, and this world is made from one letter of Hashem's name, which is a hey. And one reflects in a person how two letters take no place compared to all the words that this guy spoke in his life, and how much more so they take no place compared to the power of speech, and how much more so compared to the power of thought, and the power of emotions, and the power of intellect, and the power of desire, and the power of pleasure. And how much more so in the essence, just like the ray of the sun takes no place in the flame of the sun. And that's in a person. And how much more so by Hashem, how much 2 letters don't take any place by him. So we see how the infinite light, how Hashem is completely exalted and separate and elevated from the creation. But at the same time, this godly level of nothing is continually in every creation. It's enlivening them and created them from nothing every second. Even though the godly nothing is always creating the separate creation, that godly nothing is completely hidden from that creation until we call it a nothing. And this is the whole idea of the creation, of a seemingly separate entity. The creator is always completely hidden from it. That's why it could be a separate entity. Now I have written here on my notes, break for music.
Okay, children. Okay, children. It's time for the music.
Alright, come on, everybody here. Everybody here, I want you to sing it along. You know this one. You all know this one. Maybe I just want to make sure I'm in key with you here.
What is the song?
You know. It's a Shavuot song. Taira Tziva and Moshe. Taira Tziva.
It's a Slovak drinking song.
Yeah.
That's where it came from.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, there. Yeah, right around there. Alright?
Okay, this is how we go.
Taira Tziva. I went off the key with you. I'll play it. I'll start. You'll catch up? How's that?
Yeah, it's time.
Alright, let's go. Taira Tziva, Tziva Lando Maisha. Taira Tziva Lando Maisha. Hey, Taira Tziva, Tziva Lando Maisha. Taira Tziva Lando Maisha. Hey, Taira Tziva, hey, Taira Tziva Lando Maisha. Taira Shake, Lasyake. Hey, Taira Tziva, hey, Taira Tziva Lando Maisha. Taira Shake, Lasyake. Hey, Back to you, Bitzalel! Shavuot song right there.
Nice one, thank you. Did you get a first bell?
I've been working on it.
Come on, okay.
Gather around.
I just want to point out that earlier, I don't know if I pointed it out already, when I was giving this over to my friends, and I said that thing where you teach a kid that to be able to spin the whole solar system, you have to be a pretty strong guy. And it has to be somebody spinning it. So he told me, oh, that's gravity. So my answer to that is that's exactly right. We're saying Havaya is Elohim. Elohim is nature, that's gravity. But it's really Hashem, it's Havaya that's Elohim. It's really Hashem that's putting himself and make himself appear that there's this natural thing and this natural power that's making things happen. I'm trying to find this place where it says, let's do the music.
Sounds like you did that part already.
Oh, great music, okay. Now, this contemplation of this thing, how far Hashem is removed and elegantly exalted from the creation, and at the same time is completely involved in every aspect of the creation, making it happen, will bring a person to be aroused towards godliness. They'll say, what a great thing Hashem is, how amazing he is. Through this understanding of the supernality and the elegant, exalted elevation of godliness, he will come to understand how good Hashem is. However, this arousal of how good Hashem is from this thought process, the knowing that Havaya is Elohim in heaven and earth below, is not yet a feeling in the heart. It's only an intellectual process to know, which is the first part of this directive that Hashem gives you. You know this day, and it should sit on your heart. And this arousal in the intellect arouses a person about how amazing Hashem is and how good godliness is. But the arousal of the emotional feelings of love and fear for Hashem will be a different thing, not how good Hashem is, but how Hashem is good for me, how godliness is good for me, and we'll explore next week how that works. And now we're going to have our famous sign-off.
Famous, infamous.
The infamous sign-off. Ready? Ready, Mordechai? Gezintahait, 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 my friends! Remember, kids, Gezintahait.